Okay, Muffin is here to help me, and he made me a wonderful script, and I'm going to kind of explain to you the drafting process. So when you open up your app, you can go right down here and practice a mock draft. If you want to do that, you don't have to do that. I'm just going to use that to show you some things on how to do the draft. One second while this is loading. Okay, so in 3 minutes, I'll be able to show you that stuff. So I'm going to read you what Muffin wrote down for me. Thank you, Tim. So you are going to, a draft is selecting players to fill your roster. And you need players for each position that there are on a football team. So there is quarterback, there's running back, wide receiver, tight end, a defense, and a kicker. And then there's also a position that you'll select for called flex, which is the combination of either a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end, depending on which one you choose that week for that position. So each week you're going to fill your lineup, selecting the best players within each position. So it's one thing that's important to remember when you're drafting is each player has a bye week, which will tell you, week 6, week 5, week 10, week 11, or whatever. It's under each of their names. And it's important to spread out your bye weeks so that you are not having, half your team out on 1 week. I personally don't like to have more than 3 players with the same bye week. And then, let's see. Generally, when you're choosing a running back, you'll want to choose between 3 to 5 of them for your team. You want to choose between 3 and 5 wide receivers, 1 to 2 tight ends. I personally always do 2 tight ends. So if my tight end is not going to do well that week, or if he's injured or whatever, I have a backup. 1 to 3 quarterbacks. I personally do either 1 or 2 quarterbacks. I personally don't ever do more than 2. For a defensive team, you will pick either 1 or 2. So that would be, the Dallas Cowboys or the Tennessee Titans. That's the defensive team. You just get points for how good they did in defense that week. And then a kicker, you can choose, you can have recommended 1 to 2 kickers. I personally always pick 2 kickers, so I have a backup just in case one is playing a really hard team or gets injured or whatever. Running backs are your workhorses. It's very important to select 1 to 2 strong running backs because they will put up the highest amount of points for you. Wide receivers are your next best, strongest players. Quarterbacks tend to make a lot of points, so they're good to choose, and those are going to be the ones, if you know any football players' names, you probably know a quarterback's name, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, etc. But there's lots of good quarterbacks to choose from. So you'll just kind of go with the best points or someone you like or whatever. Patrick Mahomes is another good example. So try not to select too many players from the same team, because and it'll tell you, what team each one is on. It'll just be letters like LV for Las Vegas or, TT, TEN for Tennessee. So just make sure that you don't get too many with those letters. I personally don't like to get more than 2 players on the same team. And again, reminder that you don't want too many players with the same bye week. Okay, so this is what the draft is going to look like when it opens. And so we're doing what's called a snake draft. So these are all the teams within, so this is all our church groups, people, it'll be one of our names. And it goes through all the teams, and then the person that's last gets to pick again, and then it goes back. And you can talk during this and send messages if you want to. And this little time clock at the top here that's counting down is very important. You only have 90 seconds to select each player as it's your turn to select. And then if you go over here to the board button, that will show you all the positions that you have open. Scroll down here. So that's the amount of people you're going to pick, and you're just going to fill in your spots. Yeah. Okay, I'm 6 picks away, so it'll get up to me when I get there. And yeah, it'll show you each player that you click on. It will show you their average points, what their bye week is, what the percentage that they will be a starter. It'll tell you the team that they're on and their position. So WR is wide receiver, QB is quarterback, RB is running back, TE is tight end, DEF is defense, and then K is for kicker, and then flex again is the running back, the wide receiver, and the tight end. And it'll tell you the average amount of points that they put up, and you can click on them and read a little description about them. Now, if there's a letter next to their name that says Q, then it means that they are questionable whether they will be in the next game. So you'll want to click on their little bio thing and read about that, whether they'll tell you whether they're likely to be in the next game or not. If it says that they're not likely, then I would skip over that player so that you don't waste a pick on someone who is probably not going to be in your team and be able to play. And then if it says O, it means they're out. So don't pick a player that says O. Yeah. Trying to think, what am I missing here? I think that may be it. And yeah, just pay attention to your time clock that counts down because you only have 90 seconds to pick. And when it ranks the points each player has, it'll, say 100 points, 200 points projected for how much they'll make over the season. So you want to pick the players with the highest points. That helps you to score well. I hope that kind of helps. It's not as overwhelming as it seems, I promise. And you're more than welcome to call me, or we can even hop on a Zoom call if we need to. Yeah, I'm so glad we're going to do this together. Thanks, you guys, for participating. It'll be fun.